Hi everyone, it's Kino here. When you're starting the practice of yoga, originating your balance point in your center of gravity, or in that power center in your pelvis, is often a really big learning curve for new students. So there's a posture called Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana where you balance on one leg and lift up your other leg. So it looks, in its full version, like this posture, okay? And then you would bring your leg out to the side and bring your leg back to the center and fold forward. But many people have a hard time finding that balance. So here's a really easy way to learn the correct movement in your hip joints in order to figure that out. So we'll just take a seat, and coming into a seated position, we're going to mimic that standing samasthiti here, that standing neutral position, by this posture, which is called Dandasana. Now, what we want to do is stabilize our hips, and the ground is providing the floor for the hip joint stabilization. Now, we're going to work on the same basics of that posture, lifting the leg by pulling the head of your thigh bone or the head of your femur into its socket. So you want to feel that hip joint, and then you're going to lean a little bit back, and as you inhale, you're going to lift your right leg, nice and easy. And you're going to imagine that you're in Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. And then you'll pull forward with your big toe, inhale, exhale, fold forward from your waist. And you can take 5 breaths here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, lift your chest. Now here's where the real work of the prepare for the posture comes. You're gonna suck the belly in, and you're gonna feel the right hip joint externally rotate as you bring it out to the side. And because your pelvis is on the floor, you're gonna keep both sitting bones pressed down into the floor, and you'll look over the left shoulder. And this is just targeting the entire movement of the posture right in that right hip joint. Then, as you inhale, you'll roll the hip joint back to parallel position, and you can almost feel the head of your femur on the right side dropping into the socket. Then you'll exhale, fold forward, inhale, take it up, and release the hands, and we'll just lift that leg, and we're preparing. This is building all of the core strength and the connection into our pelvis. So let's try the other side. So now sucking in the belly, inhale, lift your left leg. So we really want to be conscious of what's happening around your hip joint. You don't want to hike your hip or let the sitting bones come off the ground. So right here, the sitting bones really remain planted on the ground. Then you're going to reach forward and hold on. If you're starting to feel any cramping, you want to engage your core even more. So suck in the belly here. Then of course, we're exhaling and folding forward. We're mimicking Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. Inhale after 5 breaths, come up, and here's the work of the posture. So we really want to work on the hip crease on the left side. If you look at the outside of my left thigh, you'll be able to see what goes on right in the hip socket. So the pelvis stays the same, and the outside of the left thigh, which is right over here, the trochanter major is going to drop back and down as the hip joint moves to the side. And you'll notice that my pubic bone stays pointed straight ahead, and my body stays straight ahead. So the whole movement is localized in the left hip joint. You're looking over to the right side, keeping the spine as erect as possible, and then we'll inhale back to the center, exhale, fold forward, inhale, take the head up, and you'll see that now the trochanter major is in parallel position, so it's aligned, and exhale, we take it down. So if you have a hard time balancing in Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, or a hard time locating what's going on in your hips, maybe break it down into that movement, treat the posture therapeutically, and then you could try from standing as well, so you'll be able to feel your core even more.